Hello, everybody. I'm starting this a little early, so it'll give people time to pile in or join. Not pile in, that's getting a little ahead of myself, but gonna do a TIL meeting, Truth and Love. Um, Hopefully, Yvonne will be joining us and she can give a short synopsis of what TIL is. I know what it is, but I can't articulate it as well as she can, so I'm going to post the link right here on my phone. That's what I'm looking down at. So whoever's joining us, here's the oh man, I just need the link. Darn it. All right, I got to get the link here. Figures.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Yvonne. We're already live.
You already live?
Yeah, because I wanted to give people. I wanted to post the link on the YouTube channel because I don't know how to get it synced up with Zoom. Because I'm always in the wrong spot, and so.
Okay.
And now I don't have the right link. I have the whole email link.
Well, I have plenty of time. It's just you and me, so.
Yeah. But why don't you give a quick description of what TIL is, just for people that are joining us?
Okay. All right.
If you would, please. Thanks.
Let's see. Where can I put it? I can't see it here. I was going to show you it from my share.
Yeah, you go to share. You got to open it on your computer and then go to share.
I thought I was going to, but I can't. I don't think I can right now because I'd have to get back outside of the meeting. Let me see if I can do it. Maybe I can.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Oh. All right, here it is. Okay, so TIL is say yes to your education. That's your education and support to the truth and love. TIL is meant to help us separating our ego, which is the old man, from the soul, which is our true self. So our desire or heart can cleave to love and be renewed daily. The 4 principles of TIL for the individual: return to the light. That's the first R. Within you, that's like be still my soul, for I am God. You get in touch with that inner stillness. Then 2, be restored. That's the second R, continually in this manner, which is choosing with your will and intention, because that's the whole purpose of being here, is to have a will formed in you. So you do have free will, and free will is when you and the will of love become one. That's when it's free. Until then, you're ruled by desire and intention, depending on how much love controls you and how much desire controls you. So anyway, the third one is reconcile all things, body, mind, feelings, desires, all your relationships to that restored inner place where you find love, and then realize or manifest a new reality in the world. Love makes all things grow. So the 3 principles of the group would be the higher mind, which is the truth and love, is the only leader for the group consciousness. So everybody has their own identity of that mind, their own level of understanding. There are no dues or fees, and the only requirement for TIL is a willingness to balance your desire with your goodwill continually. That's a continual process that if you're a very healthy person, you do that automatically. If you're, which there are very few of us, just kidding.
You get the truth.
But yeah, so it takes a long time to learn how to balance all those energies within your intention and your desires. But I think everybody's closer to it than ever, because we're probably closer than we've ever been, since we are in the last days of egoism before we go through that great transformation, that great inversion, where everybody is going to experience their unity again with the first Adam that becomes the last Adam, or the unity of all souls together again. And
And
as far as the rules of the group, everybody speaks on a topic that the leader chooses, or somebody can choose that topic. And you bring everything back to your own experience, strength, and hope, which is pretty much what your group does anyway, Steve. Um, and no one is required to share. You should feel free to, be open and not feel shut down. You keep the time of sharing according to the size of the group. Some of the topics would be resistance to the process, or identifying desire and intention, or why does the ego or self-consciousness become so self-destructive, or how do I identify unconditional love, or fear, anger, sadness, guilt, shame, doubt, all those things that we have to work with. Also joy and strength, words and their power, that's another topic, and thinking with purpose, or anything that the leader wishes to discuss. And then you end the meeting. Thank you for your participation. Bless you in your journey to love. Let us remember connection to love brings correction. Let the light reveal what needs to be healed. And that's the format.
awesome. Very thorough and very well articulated and put forth. So, last week we did a show about correction. What do you have a topic in your mind that you think we could cover today, or?
I was trying to think of one, and I wasn't led to anything. So I thought, well, I'll just wait and see if something comes up.
Right.
I just, I'm kind of all over the place as far as the things I could talk about, but I don't have any real prompt to go in any direction. So
Right.
what do
And
you
that's
think?
exactly how I was feeling today too, because I was thinking and thinking and thinking, and I couldn't really come up with anything. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, because I think we cut a little short on corrections, because I think that's pretty much what it's all about, right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
so I mean, it was maybe I was trying to bite off more than I could chew last week, but maybe you can't cover that in one meeting, so maybe we could do that.
Oh
And
yeah, it is all about that. They call it Gemar Tikkun in Judaism. It's this whole process of these 6,000 years of the ego is to correct the ego. That's what it's really all about. To correct it by lifting the soul above it, which is that connection to the light. And the ego is always there to either help us or hinder us. When it comes to the point of helping us, then it's called the friend of God. When it's hindering us, it's called his enemy. So, it depends on where we're at in our, with how our ego either goes along with or goes against that process of correction, which is pretty self-explanatory, I think, right?
yeah, yeah, and the whole process, it's funny how, we were saying this yesterday, how, well, me, I'm kind of stuck on this wow moment of how everything just leads right back into the proverbial loop, and I mean literally everything,
Right.
including us in our journey, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
for sure. Because I
and
mean,
how
that's
do it
what it is. It's like
yeah, and
this
how
little thing.
duality always has opposite ends of the bookshelf. There's always a yin and a yang, and there's always some of that in each center of the other. So it's like, wow. And
Right, right. Because that's how we experience anything at all, because of the polarity. That's what gives us this sense of one. When you feel the evil and then you choose the good, you immediately understand that polarity and how it works. And if you feel the evil or the desire, the longing, the emptiness, the anger, the fear, and you don't choose the good, you can just see it growing and growing, and overtaking you, consuming you. you know?
Yeah. And that's satanic, right? That would be what satanic
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
knowing you're doing wrong and still doing it.
Right. You have no intention, you have no access to your intention, and your intention is very weak, or non-existent. The big book of AA talks about that. It says, we can't do it by willpower. We need a greater power because we don't have that willpower,
This is
you
true.
know,
Yeah.
when it comes to our addiction,
Yeah.
whatever our addictions are. And everybody's got an addiction because everybody's at one of those levels of egoism, which is either power or money or, or just their senses, because they're lazy. They don't want to really work that hard.
Well, it's easier to not do it than it is to do it. I mean, to do it is a great travail. I mean,
Yeah, it's going
it's a
against
mission, like this sign says behind me. It's a mission.
it
And
is for sure. It is. It's going upstream,
yeah,
climbing the mountain, all that. Yeah, going against the grain, the
right.
natural tendencies. So
And
how are your people doing over there, Steve?
there's a few, but I finally figured out how to post a link. I got the link in the chat. And you can, I think you can turn your chat on, but just hit the pause button on the play so you can see the chat in another window. You just hit the pause button and then the chat will still work
Oh, okay. I
on
see.
YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube? No, I don't have my YouTube on.
Yeah, you can open it. You'll hear an echo at first, but pause the play button on the video, and you'll still be
Oh,
able, if you don't mind not seeing us full screen, that is.
I said, let me see if I can work that out. Hold on a second.
Yeah, because I know how you like to look at chat and people's questions. So
And what do I do? Where's the pause button?
when you go to this live stream on YouTube, you know what I mean? Just go to
Oh, I
this live
see.
stream on my
Okay.
channel. Okay, now hit pause. On the video, and you'll still be if you don't mind seeing us not seeing us full screen. Pause will be in the middle
Okay.
of the screen. Got it? Now the chat should still work for you. Yeah, because I know how you like to look at chat and people's questions. So.
What do I do? Where's the pause button?
When you go to this video, this live stream on YouTube, the pause button would be in the lower left-hand corner of the video on the live stream you're watching.
Okay.
There you go.
Are
You
we
got
okay
it.
now?
Yep, we're not echoing anymore. So yeah, you got it. So you can read the chat. The chat's working and everything.
I think so.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Although
if
it
nobody wants
seems,
to come on and you have a question for any of us or something to say, just say it and we'll address it. But anybody who's willing is welcome. If you have something to contribute, or if you just want to come on and sit there and ask a question or two, or you want to ask in the chat, that's fine. But anybody can come on and just via that link up there. The second one, not the first one. First one is a dial-in number.
yeah, I don't think I'm I don't see myself connected in the picture in the right way. I feel like I'm in a different time zone or something.
Well, yeah, because you got it on pause on the YouTube one.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
you're sitting there just paused, right? That's what I do on my phone. See, well, you can't see that, but
Okay, so all right, I got you.
because I don't like I like having the whole screen of the Zoom meeting in front of me, and that's why I'm always looking down because I'm looking at the chat through this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
okay,
I
just
just
know that
gave
I'm
you.
totally confused, but that's all right, Steve. Don't
That's funny. Well, nobody's more confused than I am with this whole YouTube Zooms sync up thing. It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
bad. But yeah, the corrections. I'll be honest with you. The issue with myself is past traumas that like the loss of my father, issues I have with my mother and stuff like that. Are those corrections that we need to make in order to be still and know thyself?
You know, it goes back, it's called, are we still there? Because I feel like I'm not with you anymore. I turned off
Yeah,
the
you're
chat.
here. You're here.
Okay, well, I don't see myself at all. I turned off the YouTube.
Okay, go down to your taskbar
Okay,
on
here I
your,
am. Here I am,
yeah.
Steve.
You found yourself.
I found myself. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
yeah, you know what? The whole idea of repentance means return, return, return. So it's like when you take on a spiritual path, you don't realize it, but you're going in two different directions at the same time. Well, really everybody does, but you become more and more conscious that you're going forward in one direction, but you're also going backwards into redeeming the time to your birth. So you're kind of like being made to face, that's like your karma stuff. You're being made to face all the decisions that you made to get where you are in the present before you knew what a decision was. And so you're conscious now of making that decision again as you revisit those places. You know what I'm talking about,
Oh
right?
yeah, that decision is the true free will we have.
Right, right. That's how we correct our prior desires and line them up with the present until there's only one.
At which
You know,
point does God or our higher self start assisting us with that?
yes, and when we ask,
You
the
have to
minute we
ask.
ask, it starts assisting. And at some point for me, it took me till I was 14 when I started asking. But then, you know, I didn't ask very often. I was busy living my life. But then at some point, I realized I need to stay with that focus. And then I started experiencing the pressure of remaining conscious of that process. And once I started remaining conscious of it and that it was deliberate and God was, you know, that higher mind was like, it was like, okay, I'm serious. If you're serious, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
So,
Hey Frank, we got Frank Phoenix in the house. How you doing, buddy?
hi, Frank. He's connecting with us.
I have another friend that I talked to on YouTube. He's always in a chair laying back. And it's kind of like Frank. Frank's always in a chair leaning back, just
Yeah.
chilling.
Tell him to unmute himself.
Hello,
Hey Frank,
Here you are.
guys.
Hello.
how you doing?
God bless you, dear friends.
Bless you
too.
too. We got
Good to
Piccolo's
see
son
you.
in the house. What's up, brother?
Huh?
We got Piccolo's son in the house, another guest or another
Talk,
joiner.
talk, right? Talk, man.
Yeah, he does call himself Thoth.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's Todd?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
that's talk.
No, this ain't Thoth Amon. This is Thoth, literally.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Oh,
Todd.
okay.
You gotta unmute yourself or take your okay. We got Dominic Delete Splato. Thanks for joining us. Mary Wins, Gerald Yates, Delaney Pearl Jones. Hi, sweetheart. Jules shoots for par. Robert V. Hi, brother. Seven. Deborah Tucker and Sun. Hi, y'all. Anybody who's willing, join us in this meeting. And we're just talking about corrections and our, you know, I don't mean to blanket that thing, but you know, I was trying to make it incremental a rise to the truth. But you know, me, I got to go right to the end, right to the source, right to the full nitty gritty, and I got to get it all out there. So we're just gonna go with corrections.
Yeah, well, when you've been doing something a long time, you know, it's like it's right there at your fingertips.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
oh, here's
always right there,
another
isn't it?
correction. I just had one 5 minutes ago. You know?
Yep. Yes, so did I.
Yeah.
So, hey, Piccolo, what's up? You got to unmute yourself, brother. There you go.
Yes, how's it going on, Steve? How's it going on, everybody?
Yeah, howdy. Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, well, like you said, it happens when it happens. But now I managed to be home when you were live streaming and I saw you put up the link, so I said, let me jump on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. Yeah. So, either one of you guys have any contribution to the side of corrections, or what we can do, or what you've done, or
Well, I'm just still trying to fit into what you guys are talking about so I could get a better understanding. I think I came in a little bit too late to get what you guys were saying. I heard Yvonne talking a little bit about it, but I'll tune in once I get a better understanding of what the correction you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just give a quick whatever it is, a rerun of the TIL movement. It stands for truth in love. And it's like truth without love is kind of cold, and love without truth is kind of all over the place. So like truth and love is the aim of like developing a will that understands the will of the universe, which is the law of love. Because that's what the whole Bible is about: love God and love your neighbors yourself. And it says all the law and prophets are wrapped up in that law. So all the other stuff is commentary of how to get there and how to correct yourself so that you can live in that state. And that's why it's called correction, because the ego struggles with understanding love. And then once it even, it fights love. It actually says in the Bible, it is the enmity of love, because it's the enemy of God. So it has to become a friend of God. That's the aim, for the ego to become a friend of God. And the way that it happens is in the Bible, is through the Messiah, or the good root in us that enables us and empowers us to overcome our negative desires and our negative thinking, and line up with the force of love in us, which is also within us. And that's the short and the long of it. How's that sound, Piccolo?
Yes, that was very good. That's what I needed. And I'll give you my thoughts on that. Basically, it all boils down to actually understanding love, and understanding you have to, in order to understand love, you need to understand who God is and what God is. The reason why is because in order to understand true love, you need to understand what you're loving. Everything is God in different stages. So the only true love is the love of God. So what the things that you're perceiving as negative, they're just God in a different. Because remember how I told you how you need to think of the ego as a child. So as a child is growing, it's building its understanding and it's trying to become its better self. So those people around you that you see are making mistakes, they're just God trying to be. They're trying to become God, become better. So once you're able to see that, then everything you look at, you find no negativity in it, and you actually build the understanding to be able to help that God move to the next step, because you understand the steps where it is. But in order to understand the steps of development to become God, you need to understand what God is, because the way it's all scientific. The whole thing about it is that God starts real small and then builds a trinity. And when two come together, they make the child, the third, which levels up that God to the next realm. So then it needs to find another God at the next realm to pair up and then move. And that's how God keeps on building itself. And we as humans are doing the same thing. All life is doing the same thing to attend until it goes up to the space realm. So the planets, everything.
That's the Mandelbrot set, essentially, what you're talking about.
Say that, Steve. What was that?
The Mandelbrot set.
Yeah, it's fractal.
Yeah, Mandelbrot set, how it grows infinitum, and it's a little piece of a little piece of a bigger piece of a bigger piece, and yeah.
And it's all scientific. But this is why we're able to learn, because of that. Because God.
Dude, man, this is so much easier than a freaking comment section, isn't it?
Yeah, but But that, if you look at it, that's the only reason why we're able to learn, because everything is doing the same thing. See, it's just
Right.
like when if you have a car, right? You look at that car and say, okay, I see this round thing right here. That's a wheel. And then you understand the mechanisms of a wheel to say, okay, it takes the weight and then it allows it to roll. So now you you learn the rest about the car and you understand about the car. But now you want to learn about a bike. You look at the bike and you say, hey, that bike has something that looks like a wheel. It's round. So that automatically, without anything, you understand a good portion of the bike because you see the same wheel, because it has the same mechanism. So you this is how we learn it. And then this is how everything
And
is,
that's what you're saying God is a building upon previous God. And that's
yes, because remember,
how,
God, there was nothing before God.
well,
So
right,
God
right.
is made up of everything. God made everything up out of himself. But in order to do that, he had to split himself up, and he split himself up into different size pieces, all small pieces and then the small pieces are building back up to become God.
And that's how we're all falling in the first Adam, right, Yvonne?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know exactly Piccolo's spiritual language, although I can hear everything he's saying, but I don't know how he was trained or anything, or if he has Christian training or he's, Buddhist, or I don't really know, but in my particular language, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Adam is a whole being, and we all fractals in him became many, it says in the Bible. And that word many is like legion. I am many. So when we become many, we become fractals or egos. And when we come back together, we all have to learn how to let the ego go so that the true self can come back together and join again, like a cell, like cells within a body. Because if the cells in the body fight each other, they either become autoimmune diseases or cancer or something, and those are non-corrected. That's why Adam's sick and Adam's dead, because he has to learn how to discern what is true and what is false. Am I saying that right, Piccolo?
Yeah, you're saying exactly what it is. Because you gotta understand it. Just like how it's fractal. In order to have fractal, gods have to be inside of gods, and that's exactly what you just explained. Your cells are the equivalent of you inside of God. You are just a
Yeah.
cell
That's what I
inside
was
of
just
God.
trying to relate that to. Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
but then
even
it even goes even further, because inside of your cells is the same relationship that you have to the God above you. So inside of your cells, there's another world.
right.
And that's why thought says that we are planets revolving around our central sun,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Yeah, like each cell has its own Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, everything that your body has, your cells all have. And that's why they also they help each other, have life. They exchange for life force and all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's so true. It's just like we're only responsible for our own consciousness. And it's easy for me because I'm a lazy person. That's one of my corrections, to say, well, let the other guy do it. Although I was forced to do it because I became so sick in my own, egoistic perceptions, that I had to learn to let go and to change and to be transformed or die.
Yes,
And
that's a
believe me,
cycle.
death didn't seem like such a bad thing, but it was not to be. You know what I mean? There was too much life in me to die, if that makes sense.
Well, if
Yeah,
you would have been dead, you wouldn't be here right now sharing your wonderful message. So kudos to you
Thanks.
and
So
to
here's
God.
Frank.
Yvonne, what you just explained was the cycle. That's
The
how.
hero's journey.
Yeah, yeah, but no, not just that. Besides, she's explaining how the difference between duality, because you got to understand that darkness leads to light and light leads to darkness. So what she just did is she went into darkness and then she came back out into the light. That's what happens when she what she sometimes people go into the darkness and then they stay in the darkness. But she came out because, like she said, she had attained too much knowledge to be stuck in this darkness. So her subconscious awoken and gave her light to find her consciousness to find and ascend from the light. So that's what's
Right.
happening.
Right. The light comes through the subconscious to the conscious, not the other way around, right?
Yeah, but see, that's what the subconscious. You got to understand what the subconscious is and what you are. Oh, science knows it all this time. We're just life forms inside of a vessel. See what I'm saying? So what happens is that just like how fourth awakens from the many, that's what happens. Your consciousness awoken from the many life forms. Your subconscious is the consciousness of the many life forms that are inside of you. That's why, just like how we each have information, it's the same relation. You gotta take the fractal perspective into it so that you understanding the construct, because everything is about understanding the design so that you can understand the purpose.
You know what, Piccolo? I think that's why when we wake up, I don't know about you, but I suffered so much. And it was a different kind of suffering. It was the suffering of all life forms. It was like I was reconnecting to everything that was real. And it just almost overwhelmed me. I don't know how I got through it, but well, it still does overwhelm me. I feel overwhelmed at the suffering of the
Yes.
those that have no, you know what I'm saying? Not the ego. I don't feel that suffering. I used to feel only the suffering of the ego, of the lack of not getting what I needed, what I needed, what I needed. But when I woke up, I started suffering for all the people and all the living things that need. And, I feel like they're not getting what they need.
Yes.
That's a
It's because
different kind of
you're
suffering.
sensing you're sensing the work that needs to be done.
Is that why I cry at like inopportune moments when like I see a commercial? It's just usually you just look at it and you see it and you go, oh, or, but I mean, I'll just cry at the drop of a hat for, seemingly to me in my conscious mind, I don't know why I'm doing it. And it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
That's
All
your
right.
subconscious.
I think so. I think that the mourning, blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. There is a real mourning that takes place in the healing process that is unavoidable. And I know me and Frank talk about that a lot. That's our favorite topic for some reason. It's like, because, it just happens every single day. We get up every morning, and the first thing to do is to get your balance between the sadness and the joy, to find that balance again.
We got a question from Shoots for Pyre. Oh, were you done? I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I see people's ego in enmity a lot more these days, and I've noticed their ego trying to trigger mine. Is this a common occurrence among the panel?
Yes. Actually, I don't know what Piccolo will say or Frank, but I feel that, when you wake up, you start seeing all the different ways that you're triggered and how egos do trigger each other. And it is so that it is really to kind of push us into that evolution, even though we don't like that. We don't like being triggered, obviously. Who does?
I try to
But it's
surround myself with
necessary
people that
too.
trigger me, actually.
Yes, that's what you need to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
But not just that. Because one of the laws of creation that people don't is not. I haven't found it inside of the books yet, but you got to understand everything was one and everything separated and it's slowly coming back to one. So just like how you want to surround yourself with people that trigger you, you also need to have a place that you can go and then rest and recuperate and grow stronger and then go back into that same place, Steve.
Yep.
Because you don't want to put your body underneath constant stress. That's a part of growing. You need, that's like
That's
how
one of the major corrections I got to make is taking better care of myself.
no, it's just setting up the right environment because that's why a lot of these people are triggered because they live in these places where there are too many families in one place. You need to go in a place where you could put down your defenses. See what I'm saying? So unless you're around
Yes.
family, especially when you're early developing as a human, you're not able to fully relax.
Right. That's the purpose for TIL, that, finding that place of restoration, first of all, within you. You got to find that still small voice, or that still point that you can always go to. That's your sanctuary. So just in case you can't get a loan, but if you don't have that access to that place, yes, you do got to take a time out and go somewhere, have your own bedroom, go somewhere and be alone, go to the woods, go to the mountains, do whatever you got to do. I think that's very important. I used to take walks and walks and walks. I would walk and walk and walk like a crazy woman for hours sometimes just to get that peace. I don't have to do that anymore. That's good because I can't. But yeah.
So Frank, you're amazingly quiet, brother. Do you have anything to add?
Hi, Steve. Hi, Todd. Pleasure to meet you. I loved what you had to say. Todd, right? That's your name?
Yes. Thoth, Tahuti,
Okay.
Piccolo.
Piccolo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Piccolo, Todd. I like Piccolo because there's already a Todd on there. So keep from getting confused. I'll just call you Piccolo. I love what you said, especially about when you see people, when you see everything you see, God is in there. And it kind of goes into that question that that person asked. I don't know who it was about
Shoots
the
for
being triggered. I see people. I like to say Christ, in development, or God developing, like you said, Piccolo. And I see that, and people also recognize that I am not in control, and I don't even want to be in control. So I let people just be. I kind of just let them be. I don't need to control anything today. I just roll with the punches, and it's like I give it to my higher power. I give it to God, whatever it is, and I'll just pick up the pieces and go on about my way and know that God's got me no matter what kind of curveball people can throw at you, to try to trigger you. But I don't have time to be triggered today. I see God in them. I see where they are. I see more than where they think they are, or what you can see when you look at them and you see somebody's acting like a total jerk. I'll recognize that they're being a total jerk, but I also just realize that I also know that's where they are right now, that they're still my brother, and they're still, in that growing process. And I'm so happy that I'm not in control today. I don't try to control anybody. I just go with it. And I like what Piccolo say. I'm going to get out of a bad situation if it starts to stress me out. There's nothing that says I have to stay in a situation when it's too much. I'll back up, gather my strength, like Piccolo said, and go back to it when I'm ready. But I don't watch the news because that's too much of a fear trigger. It's like it puts you in that dimension that dimension is part of the world. It's not really, there's a whole other dimension that we can live in outside of the news. I have my neighbors. I have my family. I have so much around me. I have nature all around me. I have my friends. I don't need the news. I don't need to set myself up to think that that's reality. No, that's not real. That's the world's reality. I live in a different reality today, and I choose not to watch the news because it's part of the world, and there's a whole other world all around me and inside of me. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the Bible calls the world or the earth. I like the earth and forget about the world, but the earth is the Lord's, and we the meek inherit the earth. I love that, you know. Go ahead, Piccolo. I'm sorry.
Yes. What? Yeah. Just like it. Yeah. You definitely need to you know, go and then rebuild yourself and then come back, because the whole thing about it is that you never want to you never want to fully retreat from your problems, though, because those problems are put in front of you by the universe to develop you. So the whole thing about it is that you need to be able to solve problems. That's what this whole thing is about, solving problems. So the thing why you need to be selfless is because just solving your problems alone is not enough, because you are only one part, you're only one perspective. But when you try and assist other people with their problems, you're given more problems, a diversity of problems to solve, which builds up your problem solving ability. And this is what, because what we are in those terms is consciousness. We are consciousness that is, because remember I told you God was one and then spread out and it's slowly coming back together. We are the little pieces of God that are consciousness that are slowly put itself back together. Remember, God can be only made out of gods. So slowly gods build up and collect the unconsciousness and make it conscious.
This is why Phil calls us the singularities, the breaks for the universe, for the expansion.
Where he breaks? No, we're actually
How we bring it
supposed to
back in.
accelerate it.
Yeah, how we bring it back in, right?
No, yeah, we're supposed to accelerate it, because at our point, the human level is when we develop the cerebral, which is the brain. But because right now humans are waiting on fourth to awaken, to show them how to be human again. Right now we're stuck in this world, which is this darkness, which is the capitalistic system, which was created to re-emerge forth. They had to push the world into darkness for light to emerge from that darkness. So if you were able to resist the things that this system is trying to make you do, which is to become selfish, over time you develop, into the state that you need to be to access what's in nature. That's what the system is for. This system was actually created by good people. In slavery and all that stuff, it was all created by good people to put what was because what happened, we lost this because we became complacent. When you become complacent, you no longer learn, because in order to learn you have to constantly be uncomfortable. See what I'm saying? So when we became complacent, we lost our connection. So in order to, we had the knowledge because we had written down on the pyramids and all that stuff, but we didn't understand the full connection.
Piccolo, may I ask you what your where is your base of learning all of this stuff? I mean, I'm just asking, I'm not asking because I'm saying
Yes.
it's wrong or right or anything. I'm just asking because I'm curious, because I think I already know the answer. I just want you to convey it to everybody,
Yeah.
how you came across your knowing.
It's all from nature. See, it has to do, I could tell you, me, if you look at people that you sense that have a knowledge and hear their life story, you're going to find out that their life stories are very, very similar. The same events happen to them, and most likely, like I was picking up that everybody that I sense had the ability. They always had some type of interaction with water where they almost drowned or things of that nature. And then I realized that almost drowning thing was actually the real baptism. That's what it means to be baptized. You know what I'm saying? And what that does is it puts the life back inside of you, which is the primordial life. Remember, I told you there's organisms inside the water, and those lives start to breathe oxygen into you. You have to understand that your spirit is actually the air. That's what the spirit is. But you have to temper your body to be able to ingest the spirit. So the more you could run, the longer you could run, the longer you could breathe, the more spirit is inside of you. See what I'm saying?
So this is why the ancient Egyptians were the high priests were considered netters or whatever, right?
The high priest, what the high priests were they were just people that had knowledge. They had the knowledge.
Yeah, but I mean their thing was called, I think, netters, or the the octiote, or I can't remember right now.
You're talking about like the different gods and things like that?
Yeah, that. But I mean, it was based on nature, and that's why they depicted all of their personification through animal-headed people and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yes. But that all has to do with all that stuff is what they took from nature. They gradually they took all the information from the different tribes in Africa, and then they amalgamated it because they realized that what everybody was saying the same thing, but they just had different pieces of it. Just like
Yeah.
what everybody's saying right now is saying Christianity, Muslims, Buddhists, they're all saying the same thing.
Mhm.
Once you're able to put everything together and find the connections and get the capstone of your pyramid, that's when you're able to see what they're saying. And that's but in order to do that, you need to awaken your third eye. And all your third eye is when you train your two eyes. You need to train your two eyes so that the third one awakens. And it's scientifically easy how to do that.
Yeah.
That's all. To do that, all you have to do is learn to talk, learn to communicate without words. Because you got to understand, God is not going to talk to you with words. See what I'm saying?
Is this why we see images in our mind when we're daydreaming or thinking, or
No,
you know?
I would say it's more like this is more related to a picture is worth more than 1,000 words.
Yeah, it tells you a whole story, the whole thing.
Yeah, but you have to have the context. See,
Yeah.
The context is what encoded the information inside the image, and that's what's inside that's what's on. The more you understand about reality, the more you're going to be able to decode what's inside the Egyptian hieroglyphs and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that's the more you understand about reality, the more you're going to understand nature. They're using the same mechanics to encode the information.
That's what the ego cuts us off from, is nature, because it creates a false reality for us that it's no longer in communication with nature. And like going inside, to me, the water baptism represents also entering the depth of yourself, because you are nature. I mean, without that, the ego is defining, not according to what you're actually going through, but according to what everyone out there is telling you is happening. And so you've got to like learn how to listen back to nature again. And you are nature. You are definitely nature. So
Yes, you actually have to learn when you understand the nature outside, then you can learn how to put it inside you to because you are the same as the planet. But you have to look at what you see is good for the planet and what's bad for the planet. Then you understand how, once you understand the relationship between you and the planet and how you have similar mechanisms, you will understand more about yourself. But there's a level that you get at to where you can actually look inside of yourself. But you have to understand what you're going to see before you do that.
right, that takes time.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why you have to learn the outside first.
Piccolo, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I love what you said about nature. I also hear Kabbalah. I hear all kinds of, it's like you were able to just take in from, but it had to already be in you. You had to, to understand a thing, you have to first become it. And
Right.
I think that God has done a lot of work in you. But anyway, the topic being correction and everything, and wanting to talk about nature and all that stuff. Also, at the same time, bring it into it. We are nature also, in that correction is actually getting to a place where we can start not only hearing what our child, because we start out the heart, nature, the heart of nature that is in us. It wants to speak, but even more importantly, it wants you to listen to it and actually do what you're hearing. And the correction starts even before that, in that life itself, for some of us, will really break break you down to where you become willing to not only hear what your heart is saying, but actually doing it. And then correction is a process we go through every day as we continue to grow from that part. But the biggest part of nature, the connection, is through your heart.
Yes, I agree.
And learning to hear your heart, not only hearing it, but also doing what your heart tells you. That whole process, there's so much correction that we have to go through even before to come to that place where we can even start. So correction, I mean, part of it is life is going to throw it at you. Oh my God, if you're lucky, break you down, get you ready to hear and ready to do. And then you start, you're just a little child, you're just starting. At that point, you're just, okay, I think I'm going to start listening. You're just starting. And then you got to grow into a man. You got to keep confronting that ego and saying, nope, that was wrong. I'm going to say I was sorry, or I'm going to shut up now and let others talk and, and grow. So I'll be quiet. And by the way, Steve, I love what you said about like crying with commercials and stuff like that. And that just shows that you're holding a lot more feelings than you might even be aware of. And they come out like that. But that's a lot of beautiful, sensitive, heartfelt feelings. And I'm so happy for you.
Well, it's amazing how crying makes you feel better. I'll tell you that, regardless if you know what you're crying for or not. But
Right.
Yeah.
and it sure does. It sure does beguile the wife. Oh, you're so sensitive.
I love you guys.
Love you too, brother.
Me too. Any comments, Steve?
Yeah, there's a few. They're saying a couple of people have said, so great. As soon as I'm rid of my so if I rid my ego, then there ain't no spirit left in me. Got it. And I think that's somebody being facetious. I don't know what exactly they meant, but and then they're talking about is spirit ego.
Is what?
Spirit ego.
Well, I have my own language for that, but
And somebody
All
else
right, I'll
said
just
that
tell it real
in chat too.
okay. According to the biblical language, the spirit that creates everything became disconnected through the ego from hearing God, right? Because it didn't listen to God, it listened to the ego, the serpent. But when you reconnect the spirit to God, then that's called the power of the Holy Spirit. That's what that means in the Bible. You need the holy, meaning the whole thing, not just your fractal of it, right?
Not HOLY, WHOLLY.
Yeah, well, both, But yeah, it's like because you need to be reconnected to hear the voice of what Frank was saying, what Piccolo was saying. You need to hear the whole thing. You can't just only listen to the fractal part of you, which is your ego. I'm going to use that fractal thing a lot because it seems to be a better, like the word many in the Bible refers to the ego too, because it's many, it's a lot. And it says Jesus brings many sons to glory. And because he brings them all back, he brings all the fractals back into one. And Paul says, I run the race where one wins, showing that we're all returning to the one. And the way we return is by letting our spirit, that's why the Bible says we have evil spirits, because they're not connected to the whole. Let the Holy Spirit reconnect them, and then we're reconnected and we can hear each other. We can hear everything again. That's how I see it.
And
I'm
it's
sure
all a
that-
grand process. I mean, from seed to seed, from sea to shining sea.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting going inward. It's very, I mean, it was 30 years ago, so it's not that interesting for me anymore. I kind of live in that state most of the time until I get around too many people, and then I have to like find that
Like
I have to
Piccolo said,
work.
you have to go back and take your
Yeah,
sabbatical and yeah.
yeah. It's
I
better
just
if you can just sit and be quiet. And I think that's the greatest thing that we can come to is learning how to be quiet within ourselves, being at peace.
That's a damn near
can I
impossible task for me.
can I add something to that first comment that like if my ego's gone, then I'll have no spirit left. And in a way, I kind of agree with that. In that the ego is just a fancy word for like wrong thinking, but it's like you're still gonna think, you're still gonna feel. It'll just be corrected. It won't be like defensive thinking or trying to control
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
everything will be corrected, but in essence, you'll still be thinking. You'll still have your like if if all of a sudden your ego died, that's just the wrong thinking and stuff. Of course, the essence, who you are, is still going to be there, but you'll be happier. You'll be free. You'll be corrected. I just wanted to say that was a decent comment.
Hmm. And that's why I shared it with everybody. So, uh, for me, I just know that this process, what we're doing here, corrects a lot of my thinking, regardless if it's right there, right in my face at the moment, or if it's something I brought from the conversation and I think about later. It helps me, and that's why I do enjoy these moments with you guys and with people in chat that share their own take on things, because it ultimately, in the end, we are one through the singularities that we are of the whole. And it's hard to lay down your sword to let another live that you think is your enemy because they're saying something different than you. But I think that's what we have to do, and because we're all one.
I just have to say this, being in a room full of people that like Piccolo and Frank and you, I just feel almost like, wow, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like, whew, like I can't believe it. Here we are together. It's
Don't
so amazing.
start crying, because you're going to make me cry.
I just can't believe it that we're really all waking up, and it says one day no one will have to say no God because all shall know him. And then we just won't have, I don't know, then what will we do? I guess we'll just do whatever it is that we do and enjoy each other and not fight each other and
No, we got stuff to do.
be happy with each other.
We got a lot of stuff to do. And if
Yeah.
Steve will give me a second, I would show everybody or explain to you a little method I came up with to awaken your third eye to help you guys.
All right.
Go ahead. What did you say?
He's trying to get a screen share to work, right, Piccolo?
Oh no, okay. Oh no, I was waiting for you to respond. Steve. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. So
Got the floor,
basically,
brother.
like I was telling you, the whole thing about it is being able to communicate without words. And Yvonne, the way how I came up with this was when I interpreted the story of Babel. You remember the Tower of Babel? That's where I came when God split the languages. Everybody was trying to reach God.
Yes, stable. Right. I got you.
But they were supposed to look within each other to find God. And this is where you develop your skills to be able to, because communicating without words is something that everybody does subconsciously. But the whole thing is about taking every subconscious skill and understanding it consciously so that you could take control of it consciously. That's you taking responsibility as a child growing to be, just like how a child can't control its balls at first until it learns. See, but let me get back to things. So the whole thing about it is that your mentality has to be changed first. because you were saying earlier where you're saying Christ is awakened through the heart. What it is that on this information, there's encrypted, it's encrypted by God. And it's encrypted by God because until the child matures, then it can't have access to the more powerful information, because it's going to inhibit the other children from awakening who won't be able to defend themselves. So that's why you don't get this information until you develop the right mindset. And the right mindset is a selfless mindset. This is what they was trying to explain to you when they're talking about Jesus and becoming selfless. Because what happens is that, you know, if like I told you before, unless you help other people, you're not giving yourself enough information, because it's all about processing information to be able to problem solve. And remember, like I told you before, we're consciousness trying to problem solve how to come back together, just like Tetris. You see? So basically back to it now. So that the mindset, in order to get your mindset right, you have to take off your shoes, and you need to, what females need to dance first, because you got to understand the difference between female and male is that females have access to more feminine energy than males. You know what I'm saying? And males have more access to masculine energy than males. Remember the yin and yang? It's the black and white, but there's a little bit of black inside the white, and there's a little bit, and it keeps on going. That's the fractal relationship. Because remember, you have to take the fractal things into perspective. So even inside that little dot, there's another one. See what I'm saying? And it's like, so that's how everything's related about yin and yang and duality and whatnot. So females need to dance. They need to dance barefoot first. Because what that allows them to do, females, because females have feminine energy, have more feminine energy than males, they're able to feel God and understand what's right and wrong once they tap in without knowing. See what I'm saying? So, but males, because they have more masculine energy, they can't do that, because in order to do that, you have to be weak. See, when you're strong and have defenses like a man, which is from the masculine energy that he has, you weaken your senses, because it takes more, how can I say, it takes more energy to penetrate to give you the same sense. I'll give you an example. A woman would be able to smell a smell that's 20 feet away and be really extreme about that smell, and it's hurting her nerves. But for a man to get that same effect, he would have to go like 5 feet, because he has defenses that allow him to go forward. See what I'm saying? See, but the woman would be able to sense it before him. See, the whole thing is that he has, but that same difference between man and woman is the same inside of the man too, and inside the woman, because it's fractal. So just like how well, let me get back to the explanation of how it is. It's basically your feet. Your feet, when you stand on your feet, it's not just barefooted. You actually have to stand on your toes, because your toes are another root that people don't know. You have to stand like you're on high heels without high heels, and that it strengthens your toes. Because remember, it's all about the weak becoming strong, and your toes are one of the weakest things on your body. But as they grow stronger, your whole leg grows stronger. So when you do that, it changes your mindset. Because when you walk without shoes, it makes you look where you're walking, because every step that you take, you're going to take responsibility for it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take responsibility for the weight that you're carrying, because the weight that you're carrying is the consciousness that you've accumulated. So I'm saying, but when you accumulate consciousness, you need to refine it. And if you're not if that consciousness you refine is not refined, then it's dead weight on you, holding you back. Is what
Take off your shoes, for you're standing on holy ground.
Yeah, and then your feet
awesome,
will allow you
man.
to take responsibility for those choices that you made. But it's your feet that bring you back to the right mentality, because it makes you look where you step. So like before, when you have on shoes is like it's equivalent of people drive the big SUV cars and they get real aggressive when there's a big SUV and they're driving a little small, everybody else is driving a little small car. If there's an accident, they're going to take less responsibility. So they're not really worried about being cautious or being worried about somebody else.
More weight behind your oomph.
Yeah. So that's the type of mentality you get when you wear shoes. You don't care what you step on, because you don't feel it.
Ain't that the
You
truth?
think you're living in comfort. But when you take off your shoes, it actually brings you back in that mindset that, oh, I better watch where I'm going. I see that whole thing.
Sounds like taking off. Sounds like taking off your shoes is a little bit like opening your heart.
Yes, it's changing your mindset to your heart, because people think that you only have to be good to humans, other humans. It's not that. You have to be good to everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Everything, because everything is God. Everything is God in becoming just like how humans became. It's doing the same thing. They're just at a later stage. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're actually
That's right.
stage to where we're supposed to help them, but we're too caught up in our. Well, back. Let me get back to the solution. The solution is taking off your shoes allows you to get bypass the encryption on the information. Because what happens is that is just like how when you're running, chemicals build up inside your legs like galactic acid. When you live in a negative mindset, which is fear and all those negative mindsets, chemicals flood your blood that inhibit you from thinking. Just like how it happens inside your legs, inhibits you from walking. But just like your legs, you build up a resistance to be able to handle that level of chemicals, that level of galactic acid, and you're able to push forward because you've tempered your body. So the same thing has to happen with your mind. You have to temper your mind to be able to withstand. Because remember, what, like I said, no, I'm not going to say. Let me let you see that for yourself. But so now that you understand your mindset, how to change your mindset with the barefoot walking, because it trains your eyes. Because you not wanting to step on something and get pain, which is the desire not to step on something, it trains your eyes to want to see things better. So you're actually getting some serious eye work, right there, physical eye work. The second part now to this training is the mental part. And this is what came from the story of Babel. What you need to do is you need to find some episodic shows, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, those type of things. And it has to be in a language that you don't understand. So I'm saying, and you have to have the ability to have subtitles. And the show that you select, you have to want to understand. It has to be an interesting show to you to build that desire to want to understand what's happening. You need to watch those shows 3 times each episode. The first time you watch it, you need to watch it with just the picture, no sound, no subtitles, so that you look at it, and you have to be by yourself, because what you're doing is you're building up. This is you building up Christ inside you, which is that little mind, which you guys call the ego, which tells you, and it's like your mate that is telling you, it's your second mate on your ship that does things for you. But I'll get to that. You see that for yourself once you do. So basically, the first time you watch it, you just watch it with no sound, no subtitles, and try and discern for yourself what's going on. You by yourself, and trying to understand what's going on. The second time you watch it, add the sound in. Now you're getting a little bit more information. Now you're getting some sound data, and you need to try and discern more, because you got to understand, no matter what languages you make, you can kind of make out the terms of things now. See what I'm saying? No matter what language you're talking. So you're getting a little bit more information to see if your assumptions from your first time watching it were a little bit correct or a little bit, you understand? And then the third time you watch it, you need to watch it with everything, and then logically reason with yourself about how well you did, and why did I get that? Oh, that's what they meant. Oh yeah, and then progress from there. That's slowly, when you do that, slowly what's going to happen is that you're going to start to pick up on things before they happen, because you're going to see into the characters at a deeper level, because you're understanding that's what you're going to understand it once you start to do it and see. But to show that you have progress, you're going to start to see the next progression of the story before it even happens. And but that's just a skill. When you get that skill, and even in the progress of building that skill, you need to take that skill out in nature and then look at nature, because you got to understand. And when you start to understand the creation, which was created by the creator, you will understand the creator. You understand? And especially if you understand that the creator is the creation. What's happening is that the whole key about it is free will. You don't really develop the free will until you reach our stage of consciousness, so what's happening is that all the animals are acting underneath the will of the creator. When you understand what the animals are doing and they're all doing the same thing, you will start to understand the will of the creator. See what I'm saying? So what's happening is that once you're able to build up the patterns and everything between all the animals, which is what you're going to be able to do now that you're building your third eye, you're gonna build a connection with the creator, because when I tell you, you're just like the planet. Once you're able to see what's happening out there, you understand what part you have to play, because you'll be looking at your design that the creator gave you in relation to the design that you now understand. Just like how I said about the wheel on the bike and the wheel on the car, this is how we learn.
Mhm.
So once you do that, then you take it out to nature and then start to decode, trying to understand why God made it this way. Why is it doing this? Why? And you keep on questioning. This is the questioning part. This is one part of the journey, which is the question and start to try and decode things and find the answers for things. And then what happens is that over time, you wind up getting the straw that breaks the donkey's back, which is one piece of information that you get that connects all the information that you collected together, and then you start to build the tree of knowledge inside your brain, which is just a neural network inside your brain. That's being of your neurons connecting up with the information, and then that's how you enlighten. That's when you reach the stage of enlightenment.
What you're describing here is pretty much the same process of, with this clay, I will build my pyramid, right? And eventually it's capped from above.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also why, we're likened to trees, because how they grow, from a seed to, like, the whole back of the brain looks like a tree of life. And those connections, all those connections we make from one branch to the next, and all of nature inside of us. The spirit of prophecy does the same thing, what you were just describing. It's like a totally different language, a totally different tongue that you pick up on, and you start speaking not only from the third eye, but from new ears, and you discern life from a different perspective, and you speak yourself into a new reality. That's how I see the restoration of Babel. That's why in the Bible it says, come out of Babel, come out of Babylon, because we want to get back to the pure language, which is the language of how nature works at this higher level of reconnecting everything. I think that's what you were saying, Piccolo.
Yeah, he sounded like he was describing exactly what the Kabbalah tries to describe, in essence.
Yeah, yeah.
The blueprint
But
for reality.
it's the book of Piccolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
That was great. Thank you, Piccolo. Thank you for
they're all
that.
saying that's just
Thank you,
if you
thank you,
understand the core of
Piccolo.
what I was doing, you honest, because that's just a way that I came up with how to do it. You could do that in a different way, because certain people don't have access to like DVDs where they could turn off the subtitles. That's if you the whole thing is about understanding the core of what is being, the functionality of what I put together this method.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
really
Hey,
great. I've never met anyone before that just connected purely through understanding nature for itself without any kind of language other than nature. I think that's very fascinating. So I thank you a lot.
No, I did. I had a similar journey to you. I started out in the church, in
Oh,
in the church, and then but as a child, like I said, I was as a child, I was at the adult age. I was at the adult level. I was actually because because I was on my journey as a child. I started to see the science inside of the Bible, reading it as like a 5-year-old child, as a little child, so
wow.
in Sunday school. And so what happened is that that progressed me. I started because I started to decode all of the miracles and stuff. All those miracles are they're just science, but it's just you guys don't understand the science. So even healing the blind eye, see, it's science. That science is coming up right now, stem cells and all that stuff. But once you learn how to use them in a different, it gets so all this stuff that you guys see as supernatural, it's all science and it's all logical. But you have to build the logical tree, which is the tree of knowledge, in order to understand it. You need to build the context, and the context is understanding reality. See what I'm saying? So and when you understand reality is when you understand God, because remember, God is everything, and everything is reality.
I
Right.
see science. I see science a little bit also as like DNA, in that there's also spiritual DNA. Everything is, we already have everything inside of us waiting, or that will eventually, but everything is already in us like a seed. And I see science that way a lot too,
Mm.
you know.
Yep.
Poppy Lee says spine is an anagram for penis. And
Okay.
essentially that's what we are. Our phallus is on Earth,
Well, that's a part of it, yeah.
right? That's an aspect of what the symbolism of Egyptian obelisks are and all that. I mean, that's what an obelisk essentially is, right?
Yeah,
It's a corrected penis.
Right.
If there is such, there is
Well,
such thing. There is
we are like the penis or the phallus because the spirit of truth is ejaculated through the top of our head and creates the cosmos, is the light of the world.
no, you are a son.
Yeah.
Everybody becomes a son, but you have to develop this body to do that. You have to pull in the consciousness to do it. Everything that exists in space, you have a stage 4, but right now you're in the human stage, and you have to develop. The more you learn, the longer you live. To learn more, to live longer, to learn.
That's why the matrix is a womb, right?
Yeah, what this here is a womb to produce consciousness. Remember, I tell you, everything is about consciousness coming together. But we're not doing our job. We're indirectly doing our job right now. We're subconsciously doing our job with all this war and stuff. But we need to raise up into the higher states of consciousness to be able to understand what we need to do and consciously do it. That's how chaos becomes ordered.
As a snowball or as a snowflake gathers more snowflakes and this turns into a snowball, we're slowly rolling down the hill and soon we'll turn into an avalanche.
Yes. Yeah, but I just remember what you were saying. You was asking me how I came up with this knowledge. I started like Yvonne inside the church, and then I started to build up knowledge. It wasn't until 2019 when I was talking to somebody, I started to break into some serious, like all the technology. I was decoding all the technology that humans are looking for right now and all that stuff. And then I was explaining to somebody in Bermuda. And what happened is that they started to tell me, hey, all that stuff you're talking about, it's already documented in Africa. And then I was like, what? Then he started, oh yeah, go research the tree of life or some stuff like that. And then he would start to tell me some stories and stuff like that. And then I was telling him what was happening in my life. And then it was completing the stories as if I was the one telling the stories, the Egyptian stories that it's told. So I dove into it. And once I found out that, then my whole knowledge just started to explode because I was able to see all that. And I realized that all that, I was able to make the connection between it and what was on the pyramids. And then I would take the what was on the pyramids and then bring it back to nature to verify it with nature and find it in nature. Because every example, and there's an example of everything in nature. Like I give you an example of like fatherhood. You got an example of fatherhood, of many examples of fatherhood in nature. You got fathers that impregnate the mother and then leave. And then you see what happens there. Then you have fathers that impregnate multiple mothers. You have fathers that impregnate one mother and stay with the mother and help protect the baby. All those examples are in nature. And it's you to look at nature and look at what are the successful traits about doing fatherhood this way. This is God trying to teach you the correct way to be a father. So you can look and say, oh, how does that animal wind up? Oh, look, that makes the mother wind up having to become this way and this and that. And you see the advantages and the advantages. And this is you trying to learn. And that's with everything, every concept, everything is in nature in that same manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes complete sense. Because the womb has got to teach you somehow.
I cannot say that I am happy with all of nature. And I'm talking about nature here. I believe that personally, it's nature is a reflection of where man is at also, that as man come together through chaos, which is a great corrector. Part of the correction is experiencing chaos. It's this earth going through chaos. Chaos itself is part of the correction process. But that as man rise, nature will also rise.
Yes.
What Piccolo was just talking about, what he sees in nature is really a reflection. It's there because it's in man. I think that God put man at the very top, and when man gets corrected, nature also will rise. The lion will lay down with the lamb. You know, even the
Yes.
carnivore needs will be changed at a DNA level, whatever it takes. I believe that nature is waiting on us.
Yes. You understand?
But in the meanwhile, you can see what man is doing because it's reflected in the world everywhere, even in nature. Because it breaks my heart at times to see how cruel nature can be, you know. And I'm not one that worships nature as it is. I worship God, and I worship what will be, and I see it in everybody, but I see it coming and all that. But I just wanted to say my 2 cents about nature. I see.
But you also have to see it in nature as well. Just like how there are bad things. Like I tell you, it's all examples, and nature is waiting for us to correct it. See?
Right.
We have free will that influences nature. See what I'm saying?
Nature just is, though. It's indifferent. It's not to or for anybody. It just is. It just exists, right?
It exists, but it's still a reflection. It's still
Right.
Nature will rise when we rise.
Oh, yeah,
Nature
because
will
it's
rise.
a product of our thinking, right? Is what you're saying.
It is.
Our
Everything is a reflection. Nature is a reflection. Chaos is a reflection. Everything is a reflection of where man is at. We're at the top of the food chain. We're responsible. Nature's waiting on us to change. Even nature will change. As we rise, everything will rise. It'll be heaven on earth. It'll be heaven on earth.
Yep. But we have
That's
to.
Hey guys, it's been over an hour, and we can continue this next week, and I'll be more than happy to do that. I've got things I got to do. I got to bring my daughter to her play practice and whatnot. So I want to say thank you to every one of you, and how much I appreciate you is beyond words. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate all of you too. And Steve, I appreciate you so much for being willing to do this, you know, to bring people together.
Thank you, Steve. Sorry you have to go to work. Me too. Me too. Pleasure meeting you, Piccolo.
Yes,
Yeah, brother.
Yes,
Real
nice
pleasure
meeting
meeting
you.
I'm glad we finally met up. So,
yes, that's good.
very good.
All right, yes, bless you guys.
Yep, bless you guys. Love, peace,
All
joy,
right.
are.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Live inward, love outward. Nothing can phase us. Later. Bye, guys. In chat. Dominique, Delete, Splato, Jack, Vince Mode. Here, I'm gonna make you the blue part of the blue crew. Scotty Boy, Angelfish, Jules, Cayman 830, Gerald M. Yates, Joni Rotten, Free Press 666, Slightly Slanted Sleuth for the Truth. Oh, I put For the Truth back on my name because, you know, that's who I am, I guess. Leah in Another Life, love you, sweetheart. Charlie Silverman, thanks for joining. Michelle Can-Am Free, love you, sister. Juice from the Sky, hi, didn't see you. Glad you could come. Papa Lee and Mary Wins. And if there's anybody I missed, I apologize immensely. I love you all. Thanks for joining. And you know what? Be the frequency you'd like to receive, because that's all we can do, right? Pay it forward.